In 1980, in a small apartment in New York, a woman stared at her reflection in the mirror. She didn't recognize her face. "Who am I?" she asked her daughter standing beside her. Her daughter couldn't hold back tears. "Mom, you're Rita Hayworth. You're the most beautiful woman in the world." Rita smiled, but her eyes were empty. Because Rita Hayworth, Hollywood's goddess, could no longer even remember her own name. Alzheimer's disease had stolen Gilda's memory, and nobody had seen this tragedy coming. Before we uncover how Hollywood's most beautiful woman lost herself, hit subscribe for more heartbreaking stories from legends who gave us everything. Rita Hayworth, born Margarita Carmen Cancino, arrived in the world in 1918 in Brooklyn. She was the daughter of a Spanish and Irish mixed family. Her father was a dancer.
Rita was performing on stage when she was only 5 years old. Her father taught her to dance, but those lessons were too harsh for a child. Father Eduardo Cancino treated his daughter ruthlessly. "You must be perfect," he would say. "Otherwise you have no value." Years later, Rita would say in an interview, "My father taught me to dance, but he also taught me that I would never be good enough." At age 12, Rita was dancing in nightclubs with her father. Men stared at her. Rita felt uncomfortable, but her father didn't care. "This is the business," he said. At 16, a film producer noticed her. "This girl could be a star," he said. But there was a problem. Rita looked too ethnic. Spanish features, dark hair, dark skin. The studio told her, "We're going to change you." And they did. First, they changed her name. Margarita Cancino was now Rita Hayworth. More American, more sellable. Then they pushed back her hairline with electrolysis, a painful process that lasted months. Rita cried after each session. They dyed her hair from dark brown to red, makeup to lighten her complexion. And finally, Margarita Cancino disappeared. In her place, Rita Hayworth, Hollywood's new goddess, was born. But every time Rita looked in the mirror, she saw a stranger. "This isn't me," she would say. But nobody listened. In the early 1940s, Rita became a star. Blood and Sand, You'll Never Get Rich, Cover Girl. Her films broke box office records. Rita danced, smiled, posed for cameras. But after each film, she returned to her hotel room and cried for hours. Because Rita Hayworth was a false creation, and the real Margarita was lost. In 1946, Gilda arrived. Rita played a sexy, powerful, controlling woman. In the Put the Blame on Mame scene, as she removed her long black gloves, the world held its breath. Rita Hayworth became a symbol of sexuality overnight. Every man wanted her. Every woman wanted to be her. But Rita hated the role. "I'm not Gilda," she said. "Men go to bed with Gilda, but wake up with me and they're disappointed." Her first marriage was to Edward Judson. Judson was Rita's manager, but he was also controlling and violent. He told Rita what to wear, who to talk to. Rita wanted a divorce. Judson threatened, "I'll ruin your career." Rita found courage and left, but the damage was already done. Rita no longer trusted men. In 1943, she met Orson Welles. Welles was a genius director, intelligent, charismatic. Rita fell in love with him. Welles loved Rita too, but only the way one loves a museum piece. They married. They had a daughter, Rebecca. But the marriage was short-lived. Welles used Rita in his films. He cut her hair, dyed it blonde. He was playing with Rita's image. "I'm turning you into my work of art," he said. Rita shouted, "I'm not your work of art. I'm a human being." Welles replied, "Rita Hayworth isn't a human being. She's an image." That day, Rita understood the truth. Nobody saw her. They only saw Rita Hayworth. They divorced in 1948. Rita took her daughter Rebecca and left. Then came Ali Khan, a Pakistani prince, rich, handsome, exotic. He took Rita to Paris, to Cannes, on yachts. Rita fell in love. Maybe this time would be different. Maybe this man would truly see her. They married in 1949. The wedding was like a fairy tale. The press went crazy. Hollywood princess marries a real prince. But reality was very different. Ali saw Rita as a trophy. He displayed her at parties. But when they came home, Rita was alone. They had another daughter, Yasmin. But even this couldn't save the marriage. Ali was seen with other women.
When Rita found out, she confronted him. Ali shrugged. This is normal in our culture. Rita replied, but not in mine. They divorced in 1953. Rita returned to Hollywood with her two daughters. Her money was gone. Ali wasn't paying alimony. Rita had to make films again. By the late 1950s, Rita's career was fading. She wasn't young anymore. Hollywood wanted young faces. But worse, Rita was starting to forget. First, small things. Lines, appointments, then bigger things. Names, places. In the 1960s, Rita couldn't remember her lines on sets. Directors got angry. Be professional, they said. But Rita was getting sick, and nobody noticed. On one film set, Rita forgot her role. She stood in the middle, looked around, and asked, "What am I doing here?" The assistant director shouted, "Rita, we're shooting a scene." Rita replied, "Who's Rita?" That day, filming stopped. Rita was taken to the hospital. Doctors said she'd had a shock, but the truth was much worse. In the 1970s, Rita's condition worsened. She started drinking. She was found walking the streets at midnight. She couldn't find her way to her own home. The press was merciless. They ran headlines. Rita Hayworth drunk. But nobody questioned. Maybe something else is wrong? Her daughter Yasmin took her mother to doctors. Dozens of examinations were done. And finally, in 1980, the diagnosis came: Alzheimer's disease. At that time, Alzheimer's wasn't well known. People called it senility. But Rita's disease was more severe. Yasmin announced to the world, "My mother has Alzheimer's, and this is not her fault." For the first time, a celebrity family was publicly discussing this disease. Rita Hayworth unknowingly became a voice for millions of patients. Rita's final years were filled with pain. Sometimes she recognized her daughter, sometimes she didn't. Sometimes she watched her old films and was surprised by the woman on screen. "Who's that?" she would ask. Yasmin would reply, "That's you, Mom. You're Rita Hayworth." Rita would nod, but she didn't understand. One day, Yasmin was looking at old photographs with her mother. Rita looked at the Gilda poster. That iconic red dress, that look, that pose. "Beautiful woman," Rita said. "But she looks unhappy." Yasmin couldn't hold back tears, because her mother was right. That woman had always been unhappy. The disease progressed relentlessly. There were days when Rita didn't recognize her own hands. She would stare at them, confused, as if they belonged to someone else. Yasmin hired full-time nurses. Rita needed constant care. She could no longer be left alone. Sometimes she wandered, looking for something she couldn't name. Other times she sat quietly, staring at nothing. Friends from Hollywood's golden age came to visit. Some Rita recognized for a moment, then the recognition faded like morning fog. Others she never knew at all. One afternoon, a visitor brought clips from Gilda. Rita watched the screen. The woman in red moved with such confidence, such power. Rita studied her carefully. "She dances beautifully," Rita said softly. "But she seems trapped." Those words broke everyone's heart. Because even through the fog of disease, some truth remained. Rita had always been trapped. Trapped in an image, a name, a face that wasn't quite hers. The irony was cruel. The woman who had been forced to forget Margarita and become Rita was now forgetting Rita too. The disease was erasing everything the studios had created. Layer by layer, Rita Hayworth was disappearing. And perhaps, somewhere deep inside, Margarita was trying to come back. By the mid-1980s, Rita needed round-the-clock care. She no longer spoke much. When she did, the words came slowly, disconnected. She lived in fragments of moments that made sense only to her. Yasmin stayed by her side. She held her mother's hand. She showed her photographs. She told her stories of their life together. Sometimes Rita smiled. Sometimes she looked at Yasmin as if seeing her for the first time. "You have kind eyes," Rita told her daughter once, "like someone I used to know." The woman who had captivated millions with a single glance now couldn't hold on to a memory for more than seconds. The face that had been called the most beautiful in the world was still beautiful, but now it showed only confusion and loss. On May 14, 1987, Rita Hayworth died peacefully in her sleep. She was 68 years old, complications from Alzheimer's disease. The funeral was modest. Old film stars came, but most had already forgotten Rita. Yasmin stood by the casket.
My mother gave beauty to the world, she said, but nobody gave beauty to her. They only gave her the job of being Rita Hayworth, but she just wanted to be Margarita. In Rita's will, there was a note. Don't change my name. I want to be buried as Margarita. The gravestone reads, Rita Hayworth, Margarita Carmen Cancino. Finally, she got her real name back. After her death, Yasmin established the Rita Hayworth Gala, raising millions for Alzheimer's research. Rita's tragedy became a catalyst for awareness, for funding, for hope that others might be spared what she endured. Rita Hayworth was the most beautiful woman in the world, but that beauty became her greatest curse. Hollywood made her a goddess, but destroyed the real person. And when the disease came, Rita forgot everything: the films, the fame, the pain. Perhaps it was a mercy, because she was finally free from the pain of being Rita Hayworth. They took Margarita and created Rita. Then Alzheimer's took Rita and left only emptiness. But in those final moments, when she looked at the Gilda poster and saw a trapped woman, maybe Margarita was still there, still watching, still remembering what it felt like to be real. Sometimes forgetting is better than remembering, especially when the memories aren't truly yours. The goddess forgot herself, and in forgetting, perhaps she finally found peace.